Greetings, this is your host, Reigning Queen Goddess, and thank you for tuning in to Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit, where we are honoring sexuality and spirituality as one and balancing the energies of both in a beautiful, complementary fashion. So stay tuned.
Greetings, this is your host, Reigning Queen Goddess, and we have another night of Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit podcast and our Sexy Virtual Health Week. And tonight's honored guest is Jessica from the Pussy Podcast. Hi, Jessica. Introduce yourself. How are you?
How you doing, everybody? I'm great. Things have been going really well. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So tell us more about who you are. Who is Jessica and the Pussy Podcast? We want to know all about that.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying not to be too lengthy, but yeah. My name is Jessie Camille. I'm the creator and host of the Pussy Party Podcast. That is a place that I created to really give representation to the pussy. But it's definitely inclusive to penis owners as well. But basically, I just created that space for women who feel like their sexuality is misunderstood, misrepresented, to have a place to really express their sexual needs and wants unapologetically. But it definitely goes further than that, to where we talk about, sexual education, we talk about sexual health, we talk about legislation, things going on in the community, all things that affect, pussies or pussy owners. And right. It's really grown into really being a place where we go around and we talk about taboo topics and understanding how people are relating or having sex around the world and normalizing it and really shedding a lot of light in that area. So that's one thing that I do. I'm also a author. I have a book called 30 Ways to Start Manifesting. I am an Orisha practitioner and a Hunsi Baswal, which is French for a spiritual wild woman. I'm also a tarot reader. I'm a tantric practitioner, sensual dom. The list kind of goes on and on. Also an entrepreneur. I have a company called Panty Dropper, where I created a CBD-infused stimulation serum for all of your erogenous zones. And it's something to kind of aid in increasing orgasm and even alleviating pain and things like that during sex. So those are just a few things that I do, just to name a few.
Well, that is a beautiful list, and you are manifesting like crazy over there. We're going to get more into the CBD massage oil and the masturbation meditation, but I want to start by, before we get too deep, I want to start by asking you personally, how did you start your self-love journey, your self-healing journey, and how have you grown through the transitions in your sexuality and spirituality?
Oh, gosh, how did I start? Wow, you're making me go back. How did I start my self-love journey? Honestly, I started my self-love journey by having some amazing sex with a man that I just was attracted to under the full moon for like hours. That's how it started. And this was the first man that I had ever had sex with since I had left my ex-husband. So it was in my new discovery of my new life post-divorce. And then through that, I started a 30-day cleanse. So no dick, no meat, no tobacco, blase, blase, blase. And that was really the beginning of my self-love journey. I kind of did whatever I wanted, however I wanted, and was satisfied with that. And then I went 30 days cleanse to kind of understand that I was not a slave to it. And then from there, I got really deep and connected into herbs, because I also am a herbalist. And the one thing led to another, led to a lot of knowledge and history on, where we come from and, what we do, and getting back connected to nature. And it's just really been an amazing journey. I would say probably one of the biggest things that I do now that was a part of my practice that I share with others are what I call goddess and god baths. but really getting into spiritual baths and customizing them based on so many things, based on your spirituality, based on the elements, chakras, and sex, because there is different kinds of sex that are connected to different areas of your body, things like that. And so those are all things that I really grabbed a hold onto, alongside. The thing that kind of connected all those dots together was also using divination. With what I practice, we believe that it's your right to know and have the tools to communicate directly to the Creator. So, it's utilizing, like I said, nature and all these different things to take care of myself and, do what makes me happy, and to get confirmation, guidance, warnings, protection through the divination tools. All those things together I guess it's not necessarily, I went a little further than just saying what started my journey, but the whole journey in itself.
Right. So these spiritual baths that you make for gods and goddesses, this is also a way that you help you move through your self-healing and just grounding yourself in your sexuality and spirituality is what you're saying pretty much, right? Yes.
So, I had a regimen at some point. A lot of people may have heard of Sacred Woman, with Queen Afua. She has a regimen that's pretty rigorous, and I didn't do that. I'm a woman of the moon, and I did my things according to what resonated with me with the moon, but doing that continuously, and then also starting to do it for my loved ones, my lovers, my sisters, people in my spiritual brothers, things like that we could exchange, knowledge and exchange energy. Through developing that over time, I realized what one of my gifts from God was, and I learned that I come from a long line of priestesses who knew all of the ways of the water, knew how to work with water and heal, knew how to, transform it. And so it was something that I definitely did for myself. And then once I started to share it, it honestly helped me even connect more to my divinity. And so I'll have people come in who may not realize or may need help getting into that God energy or that goddess energy. And now I'm at a place where I'm at a surplus of that, where I go to the gas station and I understand walking from the car to the, inside to pay, how my walk affects the place, right? Yes. And so I just give a little supplement of my divine feminine energy to, the goddess or the god, and it kind of kickstarts that they have within them. And it is definitely transformative. I have many people that I work with now, and like I said, it had you walking around the world different.
Yes, put a little pep in your step.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about self-love. Whenever somebody's doing the self-love work and the shadow work, you can see it because it exudes all out of their essence, and they just glow. They glow with it. You know what I mean? Even like you say in the walk, like your posture, you walk different whenever you know who you are, your I am power, and you're doing the work. So that's right. Beautiful to hear you, talk about your transformation and just knowing that you possess the land as you walk.
Right.
It's just energy, and as you move your presence through an atmosphere. So that is beautiful. Now, going back to the masturbation and meditation, which is what tonight's theme is, just teaching people the principles of self-love and how to ground your sexual energy for yourself first and utilize it for yourself and understand how to use it with a partner. But that all starts by you getting to know your body first. Now, I know you've been through my class as well, but I want you to share your experience on masturbation, meditation, and self-love and how it's personally transformed your life.
Right. Well, so I like to kind of keep it a little simple because sometimes I think that people take these spiritual connections or doing spiritual work as these like higher, like, oh, you've got to be the room smoked out with sage everywhere and right. You're on a pedestal of amethyst and, and really it's not. I mean, really when you start to think about how you function in your everyday life, a lot of people, they're like, man, I was ready to go to work and I had to kind of, take care of myself. They basically, I had to rub one out before I could really go out in the world and do my thing, right? And so it's kind of like dissecting that a little bit, because masturbation, meditation, or manifestation, either they kind of coincide. So I look at masturbation, manifestation, or meditation in three ways. You can either, one, set your intentions, decide what you want, map it all the way out, and then, masturbate. Now we're going to break down some of the ways of masturbating, but you can set your mind on what it is that you want this energy to do, because sexual energy, orgasms by yourself or with a partner, is one of the most efficient and fastest ways to move energy. And if we're trying to manifest something, besides lighting a fire, it's basically like lighting a fire within you that sometimes gives a reaction of water, ironically. It's a good way to do that. So you could do it then. Some people like to do it while they are masturbating. They may go through certain steps of just starting to look at themselves and starting to see what they smell like, really feeling and starting to integrate, how much of a goddess they are, or that they're going to have a great day, or, whatever it is, intentions that you're trying to put out there. Instead of just moaning, you're chanting mantras, or you're saying who you are, what you want, or where you're going, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not necessarily that type. I'm not going to lie. I'm the kind of goddess where if I'm focused on pleasure, and maybe it's my Aquarius mind because we could be a little analytical, I can't do it necessarily simultaneously. I'm not a multitasker, but there are people there who do. And then the other one is to do it after, is to, and the after usually is more to me in action, not necessarily in thought. So, you masturbate, you just give yourself this great amount of pleasure, right? And you knew that once I orgasm and I have that release, then I'm going to go do this candle work, or I'm going to go do this spiritual work, or I'm going to go out in the world and move this way. And to me, I like that a lot because it's a good way to put, to me, practice behind your prayer. You know what I'm saying? So it really just depends. But breaking down the actual masturbation, I like to look at masturbation meditation as like the opposite of grounding, like elevating. So if you would go outside and stand with your feet in the grass or sit under a tree, they tell you to engage all five of your senses, to truly be present in your body and to say, what smells are going on around me right now? What am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? All those different things. It may say take a piece of grass and put it in your mouth. What taste are you getting? And I take that same thing in the grounding sense and take it into your bedroom or your living room or wherever you want to do it at. And, of course, sitting in front of a mirror so that you can see, or having your camera, taking a picture of your pussy or your penis to see what does it look like when I'm getting started? What does it look like when I'm getting aroused? What does it look like when I climax? What does it look like when I'm done? What do I taste like? What do I smell like? Do I feel, wet like Niagara Falls, or do I have to really do a little bit more to get myself there? What sounds do I make? I sound like mac and cheese, you know what I'm saying? Or is my pussy silent today? So really engaging in all of those senses, it helps you be way more present in your pussy or in your penis, to really know what's going on, to say, you know what, today the feeling ain't right, or today the smell ain't right, or it's looking sad. She's looking sad, to kind of be able to know what you need to do so you can adjust, because I think we're creatures of habit and get in a routine of, I'm going to take this vibrator, I'm going to put it on the fifth click, I'm going to just hold it there and come, and that's it. And sometimes switching it up, and not building this like robotic routine for your masturbation can help you really reach other areas and other heights. And then another, like, so for men, I tell people all the time, if I was a man, I'd be writing down my goals and my ideas and what I want and where I want to go. And I masturbated, I would nut all on that paper, nut on the journal, nut on the vision board, because men actually have seeds. They have these organisms, that can plant things to give life, that can impregnate something. So I would be writing down, today I'm going to get that promotion at my job or whatever it is. And then you have a tool that you can point anywhere and shoot it to, So if I was a man, I would be doing it in a very literal sense of using that semen in and on certain intentions or spiritual work or a honey jar or whatever it is to give life to my dreams or to what I want or shit. In this day and age, if I was a black man, I'd write peace and blessings on the paper, because that's something that black men, struggle to, it seems, to have a right to have and have an orgasm on it, ejaculate on it or whatever. And, go out in the world. It's not just for, I know I'm pussy-centered because I have one, but most of my clients, the people that I work with, are males, because my job, my march is to heal the women through the men. So I like to kind of instill, I would say, divine feminine principles to the divine masculine. It's not that you can't use it, because it's in both. It's in us all, And so those are some ways that I really like to break down masturbation, manifestation. Now, meditation, on the other hand, a few things. Go outside. I have a deck outside my bedroom, so I like to just go outside and let the sun kiss my clit. Just open up your legs, lay there, and you can almost feel, your pussy absorbing those sun rays. That's meditation right there. And even if you're touching yourself or not, that is very powerful to just charge you up. I feel like it's like when you put your cell phone in the, in the charger. You have times where you could just hold your pussy open, open up your outer lips and your inner lips and breathe and, listen to certain sounds, where you could be pressing and just holding on your clit, not necessarily doing this active fingering or active rubbing or anything like that, but just more kind of like controlled breathing and meditation, but it's controlled touch. So those are just a few different ways of how I really like to incorporate it. And really, for me to advise, I would have to know the situation and the person to customize what they really should do.
Right. Well, that is some awesome information. I know yesterday, on yesterday's show, we were talking to the Yoniwhisperer, and he was talking about womb trauma and stuff like that, and about releasing and how to use your sexual energy and your seed. So I see that's coming all across the board when it comes to staying grounded in your sexuality and your spirituality. The meditation, and then the masturbation portion and manifestation. I really see a lot of similarities when it comes to a person trying to ground themselves through the meditation and then trying to manifest something or elevate, as you say, with the masturbation manifestation. And one of the things that we learn that I teach in my class is teaching people meditation and orgasmic meditation and orgasmic manifestation. They're two different things. One, you're just meditating so that you can bring yourself to a quiet place, or allow your spirit to take you to the traumas. I know one of the things in class, whenever you were going through my class, we all thought it was going to be just like a breath work and breathing and rub one out and get it over with. No, it takes you, the trauma release takes you to the trauma so that you can say, hey, I need to let this out of this chakra so that I can breathe through it and know what it feels like for it to be clear. So just being able to communicate that to people and understanding that your sexual energy is creative energy, but it's also healing energy when it's used properly for yourself and shared with others in balance,
Definitely.
So manifesting, how has your life changed as far as the things that you've manifested through your orgasmic energy? And when I say people know what we're talking, because I know this is a whole, taboo, and some people is so new, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, what? I mean, you're sitting here telling us to open up our pussy lips to the sun, so, we got to catch a lot of people up to speed.
Right.
We're just pretty much explaining how your sexual creative energy can be used, not just primarily to get a nut and get yourself off, but actually use it to ejaculate. One of the things that I teach in my class is ejaculation. Like, you get yourself to a point where you're about to climax, and you breathe, do a breath work, a series of breaths, so that you can breathe through it and not actually release that energy and dome yourself. Doming is what I call christening yourself with your own sacred energy. So it's the same way if somebody was to, you were with another person and they were to ejaculate, and the energy goes into you, and so now you're cycling and spiraling in their energy, and your energies fuse together, and you're spiraling up or spiraling down if it's not a good a good situation, because sometimes you have vampire and succubus and incubus spirits. But in that space, we understand that when the energy is used properly, we can manifest when we have people on the same frequency resonating with us in oneness, and when we're resonating within oneness in ourselves, we can manifest these things. Definitely. So share how you orgasmically manifested things and break that down to the audience.
Oh, wow. So I have manifested specific amounts of money, and how I did that was through doing some divination, seeing where I needed, like, my spiritual holes to kind of be filled, and taking a spiritual bath, going through all the pageantry that I do of that, and then after letting go whatever it was in the tub, going into the room, and masturbating and going to sleep and just living my best life, and doing that, every 2 weeks for, a year, to have this certain amount of money after taxes in my savings. I've done that. I have had, and this is so funny, recently, a friend had a party here at my home, and I had certain people around that were all on these same frequencies, and me and 4 other women happened to just really vibe and connect, and there actually was also plant medicine involved. So that definitely opened up the energy and the emotions and the portals. Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily sex, but I would definitely say it was goddess worship, where from rubbing on my feet to in my scalp to, maybe a little bit of pussy eating, or, loving on, your breasts and your nipples and things like that. And them constantly telling me this mantra of that I deserve this, that I deserve this pleasure, that I deserve, everything that I was getting, and me repeating like, yes, I do deserve this. Yes, I do. And from that, I ended up manifesting, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to call it, but it's like my League of Extraordinary Goddesses. My home is, now, my religious temple is called the Sweet Love Sanctuary. And I actually have a group of goddesses and one god that I teach, the goddess lifestyle, where I teach spirituality, where I teach Orisha practitioner ways, where I teach about the elements. And I have a ministry around manifestation. What do? We worship natural energy and worldly forces, things that are inevitable, and understanding how we come from that, how those are our eldest ancestors, and to utilize everything, not just what we may have, being able to have nothing and walk out into the world and make magic happen, because we understand how to work with the elements, and we understand spirit, which is like the 5th element, 5th, 6th, 7th, and, make it happen. So I manifested my tribe, and that was over, I would say, 3 years of consistent and inconsistent, because I ain't going to sit here and act like, I've been the most perfect spiritualist and da-da-da-da-da and all those things. But, I definitely manifested my tribe through being someone who realizes that I heal through sex and heal through sexual energy. If I'm doing a bath for you, we're naked. We are coming in our raw selves. And, people don't realize that sex and sexuality is the tool of creation. I mean,
right.
that it stands for everyone. There are many tools of creation, but that one is the one that connects us all. So I've definitely used that to, now have, about 10, people that are realizing who they are as women and men, realizing that, yes, they were kings and queens, but now really coming into living as a goddess and knowing what kind of goddess they are and what they do and how they should be approached. And once you have that, like I said, knowledge of self, you're unstoppable. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that I've manifested, and we're going to go around the world like how I was by myself, and heal through sex and sexuality.
Yes. Well, you are definitely doing the work, and I'm so proud of you. Personally, Jess and I, we have a personal relationship, and we know each other. She was one of my students for my Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit intensive class, and she became a practitioner and shamanic priestess as well. And
yes.
Her growth, oh my God. I used to love hearing Jessica when she come on in class and she's finished her whatever the orgasmic manifestation or the whatever sexual, spiritual practices and rituals and ceremonies that we had to do that week. I will always be so excited to hear what Jessica had, because Jessica always had something good from me. She's like,
girl, I am off the chain. I need to sit down. I need to sit down somewhere.
But she's so free and has such a beautiful spirit, and the way it comes across into the community and how loving she is. I've seen her in her work, and I've seen her transformation personally and the transformation that she helps other people with. And I'm so proud of you and so happy.
Thank you.
Connected to a beautiful reflection like yourself.
Thank you.
I just had to give you that little love and shout out.
I appreciate it.
I've been watching you. We've been together for 4 seasons, and I've been seeing your work and all the shadow work and everything. And you are blossoming so beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Look, and the other thing I did say is I have manifested 2 lovers. Yay! Now that one, I think I'll probably end up having 2 husbands. I think that's what God has in store for me.
Bring you back for the poly conversation that we have coming up for next month. We're going to bring you back on so you can.
Oh yes.
Poly insight,
I'm here for it.
Now, is it a polyandrous situation or just poly?
Well, right now I would say it's kind of like a V. I am the center, and I have 2 individual relationships with these 2 amazing gods. But they are different. One is long distance, and eventually they will definitely be loving on me at the same time in my bed. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, and I'm still, trying to navigate those things because, spiritual marriage and the marriage in the Western world, things like that are totally different. But I see tons of love. I see, family and children, and I see business partnerships. So, we'll see how that all works out. But if my ancestors did it, because like I said, I come from a long line of priestesses who the women and the wives, ran the family. The men were there, they were strong, they were figureheads, but, the women kind of set the tone. And so I'm just getting back to that, and it has been amazing.
Well, it's, what, right now in the community, we need to see the transformation. We need to see the healers actually moving through stuff and sharing their stories and transparency, within respectful balance and comfort, because everything I do a certain level of sacred privacy, because some people get too much information because they have the information. Don't mean they know what to do with it.
Right.
So you also have to use your judgment and offer. You've told us your services. Tell us how they can connect with you, and how do you work with women? I know you work with men, but you are healing the goddess through the men. How does that work as far as you reaching the man to help him be able to shift his perspective in regards to transferring that energy on the masculine side to the divine feminine?
Right. So the best way to reach to me is probably Instagram, at Pussy. It's spelled PWUSSY, Party Podcast. You could DM me, shoot me a message. I'm very approachable, and usually we'll figure out something where we'll do some sort of consultation and figure out which route you need to go, because there's herbs, there's baths, there's just readings in general. There
and
is.
You're based out of Houston, right?
I'm out of Houston, Texas, yes, but in this day and age, we could pretty much
virtual services as well.
Yes. So for how I get to the women through the men, so most of my clients are saying tantra and things like that are men. I come in and I basically love them. I love them in a certain way to where when they interact with a woman, like I said, at the gas station, at the club, or in an intimate, loving relationship, their approach and their literally effect of their energy with their touch has a ripple effect of healing or either not doing damage to an already healed woman, right? And so that's how I heal the women through the men in that aspect. Now, for women, I do healing work more of an approach of teaching a woman how to fish versus giving them a fish. I still heal them, in general, because, you have to be at a certain level to even be able to do this. But I'm really more in the business of teaching women how to do what I do, so that there are more me's out there that are healing women through the men, and I guess it's kind of like almost like a multi-level marketing of healing, and really having women understand, like I said, that goddess energy, that goddess, like people say it, but I am developing and putting together a program where you could literally spit it out and know exactly, like I said, what kind of goddess you are, what you do, what you don't do, how someone should approach you, blah, blah, that whole thing, and have that be how you live, period, and once, women do that, I mean, like I said, we are unstoppable, we're unshakable, and we definitely do the moving and the shaking and things like that. And, it's been serving me really well. People really are seeing transformative things happen from something as simple as, man, I was able to let go my pain from my father passing when I was young, to my credit score went everything's going up. My credit score went up. I got my independence at my job, and it's because of the ministry that I teach, with it being around the elements and finding balance in that, and having a spiritual prescription that may have also holistic type remedies or things to do, and then spiritual work or workings or whatever it is. And we put all that together and, boom, you're living the goddess lifestyle or the God lifestyle.
Right. So there's a lot of shadow work that goes into, teaching the men about shadow work. I would pretty much assume with helping deal with women that are not even spiritually. I hate to say like one person's higher or low, because we're pretty much just each other's reflection, and any part in a person that needs to come up or needs work on, I would say. A lot of times, if we attract that person, or if that person comes across our energetic field, many times it's just an energy that's also residing within us. Now, it could be not something that's coming out and manifesting in your physical life, but it could be an embedded generational trauma or curse that has your lineage. Now, you may not be actively acting it out, but you may have an uncle or an aunt or somebody that have had this generational curse, and it just comes out to where you
right, because we are reincarnated with them. Yes, right. Definitely. And one thing that I do suggest, definitely. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Now I'm just saying that.
So one thing I do suggest. is that, everyone is not, like I said, tied to African traditional religions or the Orishas or anything like that. But there's a thing called a roots reading. And the roots reading is something that you get from like a Baba or a priest or a priestess in my culture. And it is transformative because knowing who you are and where you come from, it just gives you a whole different foundation. People that are of Latin descent or white folks or Asians, they can say for however many generations we were rice farmers or we were conquerors, we were warriors, we were this and that. And so to move in the world this way, having that knowing of that's what's in your blood, it just has you do something different. So this roots reading tells you about your family from the beginning of time to slavery. And it tells you who you're reincarnated as. It tells you, are you reincarnation of your mother's side, of your father's side? What did that family do? What were the hang-ups and things like that? It tells you taboos. And that is something that I think everybody, especially of our African descent, could use to help understand why. Why is it that I just cannot, every time I date a man, he's married? Or, just different things like that. You know what I'm saying? I found out that, I'm allergic to fish. And the people told me, oh, well, ancestrally, because of what happened, you shouldn't eat fish. The man didn't know me from Sam, you know what I'm saying, to be able to tell me these things that are consistencies that manifest in our bodies today because based on things that happen with spirit, with God, with the earth, with whatever, before slave time came. So that's definitely something that I would suggest and could definitely give contact to a Babalawo that I know who, gives amazing insight into where you come from, to help you develop more who you are. So that's my little tidbit.
Yes. I would, just to piggyback off of that, I would say divination, since I started and got grounded into my spirituality, divinations and natal chart readings in regards to a union, I'm very big on going to my spiritual mother and be like, look, I need you to do a reading on this person because I am so tired of falling in love with assignments. So sometimes we fall in love with an assignment or a season where people have to understand that we're all balls of energy and ether, and we're all crossing each other's paths. And when people cross your path, a lot of times it's just for a season for you to energetically pass them their keys, and they have keys for you. So beautiful exchange. And oftentimes we, because we're the person that's helping and doing a lot of giving, or we're more spiritually inclined, and the person needs, need a little bit more help or in a certain area, it causes an imbalance because you have to realize that we are spirit. And oftentimes when you have a union and you have people that just get together and they just think they're just going to jump into something and don't get any readings, and you're trying to figure out why you keep attracting this type of person or why you keep going through these types of situations, you have to really break it down and realize that sometimes it's just a familiar, we talk about this in my class, what is it called, familiar spirits. You have complementary familiar spirits, and you have non-complementary familiar spirits. So you can have someone like you and I, Jessica. We have a lot of stuff in common, and we have a lot of complementary familiar things that bond and bind us together, and we create off of. That's the same way in any other type of relationship or union that you form. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything you bonded. Sometimes it's trigger and trauma bonding, and you don't realize it until you get in there and you're like tearing each other apart. And he's bringing up triggers, you're bringing up triggers in him, and it's just like a never-ending cycle of negative poltergeist that's building. So getting these divinations and readings and doing this and grounding yourself first in your sexuality and spirituality is very important before you embark on joining and starting a union with anybody. So the work that you are teaching these men and how to deal with the triggers and the traumas and helping heal the goddesses through the men is beautiful balance that you're bringing to the community. So beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any last minute thoughts or anything that Spirit is giving you that you would like to share with the community for this sexy virtual health week to keep us grounded in our sexuality and spirituality? What tips would you like to leave us?
Oh gosh. Few things from Spirit. I would say that this is something that's been coming up just with Corona and all of this. I call it Corona. Going on right now is that what is being quote unquote attacked are the elements of water and air. It is our emotional health and our mental health. That is what the spirit of whatever is going on right now is really connected to. So, and I have a video on my Instagram page going a little bit more in depth about it. But right now I would say, ask yourself, when is the last time you cried? When is the last time you ejaculated, for women, squirting? I know everyone can't, but when's the last time you sweat? When was the last time you sat in water or been in the water? Having either that inside you where it has not gotten out, especially for our men, in years, that is how the energy can connect to you and manifest in the form of fluid being in your lungs or some kind of unhealthy, manifestation of this quote-unquote coronavirus and things like that. And then on the other end, with the air, that's your thoughts. Oh, go ahead.
We lost you for just a moment. You said the energy and the air, and then it cut you off. I think you maybe had a beep or something.
Oh, I said so that as far as that emotional release, like if you have not cried, if you have not purged, if you have not sat in a tub, or if you have not sweat, like this masturbation we talking about, meditation, if you haven't had that release of some kind of fluid, not to say you have to squirt like crazy, but to me squirting is the pussy crying. So, really focus on that element of water, which is where our emotions are, and being healthy in that way. And when you are healthy in that way, you are a little bit more fortified and protected, and it's harder for this energy of this quote-unquote virus to manifest in you to where you get sick. And then on the other side is air. Air is our thoughts. And so that is a great time to connect with a therapist or a spiritual advisor, a friend, a family member, coming to somebody like me to communicate, to get in the airwaves of having mental release, but also mental health. And through those two things, because they say the first signs of coronavirus is shortness of breath, right? And so these are just two areas that I identified as I connect everything to the elements that we need to focus on to stay healthy and to stay fortified, which is why, you may see some of these celebrities and whoever saying they got corona, but I sure ain't seen Queen of Four say she got it, or I sure ain't seen no one that is a spiritual naturalist or a light worker or whatever, what have you, saying that they have it. I mean, like my entire E-lay is hundreds of us. And not to say that everybody's done the work, but a lot of us have, done the work. And not one of us is touched by, this energy that's going around right now, because it can't see us. It can't manifest in us because we're fortified in those elements. So that is something I definitely would leave with the group, is to emotionally release and have emotional strength and balance, and mentally release and have mental strength and balance.
Yes, it's so important, because right now that's one of the things that I said, and it's funny you say that, because I really feel like the biggest war right now, and everybody's focusing on everything, but the biggest war right now is on the war on the mental, on the mind. Like for people not to use their damn mind. Like, it's okay. It's a pandemic of people not fucking thinking.
Right, exactly. And I've been telling people, yes. I've been telling. Oh, go ahead.
No, I laugh about it, but I make a joke to make light of it, but it's really, like, I have a series on YouTube and from my old podcast, Moving Through Trauma, and I talk about, it's a series called Use Your Motherfucking Mind 101. And one day, everybody's going to be charged for using their damn mind, and we are being charged for thinking outside of the box. Nobody understands the power of thinkers and a sound, conscious balanced thinker. You know what I mean? Your mental has like everything takes birth in the mind. Like if you want the mind to do something, the spirit initiates it because the spirit is ether, and then it to this physical body, it ignites the mind. The mind tells the body to do something. The body does it, has these different emotional like freeness or traumas. And guess what? If spirit moves through all these different mental aspects of us through the mind. So the change in the mind of the community, and we have to realize that we have to get away from these old societal stigmas and ways of thinking and be able to release ourselves from the bonds and just be open to change and growth, because that's what we're going to have to do is change our mind and our perspective. Like I always say, perspective is everything and nothing at the same time. But, you know,
right,
we have to constantly shift and be shape shifters and doing the shadow work and being
for sure
grounded in our journey. If not, we're going to lose ourselves, and the community, our village work that we're supposed to be doing as healers is not going to be a good go at all. So I want to
right.
Jessica for coming on and letting us know how to stay grounded, how to manifest with our orgasmic energy, meditate and stay grounded. Thank you for healing the men and healing the women through the men. I appreciate you and all the work that you're doing into the community. I really am so excited about you and the things that you have coming up. Y'all just head over to her page, head over to her website. Stay in tune, because she is going to continue to wow the masses and wow the village, because she has so much to offer, and she is a beautiful vessel and very humble, and I'm grounded in her work. So I'm so grateful for you being one of the leaders in the community and being a pioneer, standing with us to keep this shit together, because we need all the help we can get.
Okay, look, I don't know about you. I've been busy because I say, look, everyone's looking for God and the church is closed. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the acknowledgement. It feels great to be seen.
Yes, honey, I see you, and I see you being great. My beautiful reflection. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to sign off. Everybody send her some love and head over and show her some love and support her. And if you need any healing sessions, virtual, or if you're in the Houston area, or if you want to just fly out to her, if you know you want to be about that life, connect with her in some way. She has so much to offer.
Definitely. Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Yeah, check me out on Instagram at pussypartypodcast.com. I mean, not .com. Pussy Party Podcast on Instagram. So that's PWUSSY.
Give them the spelling of that. Because it's spelled
PWUSSY, because Instagram censors pussy. So I just put a W in there like plies. So that's Pussy Party Podcast on Instagram. And then you can click the bio on my link tree, and that'll link you to the panty dropper, to doing tarot readings, if you want to book a bath, or even have me send you things to do a bath on your own. Give me a holler in my DMs, and I really like to customize things more than anything. So,
yes, because every session is different. You can't do the same thing you do for one person that you did for the session before. You got to reset the energy and see what they
need.
It'd be a serious work. Well, we thank you again, and infinite peace and blissful blessings. Thank you again for having. Now, hopefully, we can have you come back now for the poly session.
Yeah, let me know.
Share on that, y'all. She's got tons of knowledge, so we'll be having her on the show again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
You're welcome. Good night.
All right, night.
Greetings, gods and goddesses. This is Nikki Jones, aka Reigning Queen Goddess, stopping by to invite you to check out my 12-week intensive Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit. An intensive that focuses on combining the aspects of sexuality and spirituality as one, learning how to include self-love practices, body positive, mirror work, orgasmic manifestation, cutting cords, sex magic, divine unions, sacred sex, ceremonial worship, and the sacred art of spiritual fluidity, and balancing all these aspects as one. If you are interested, please send me an email to sacredgoddessesoasis@gmail.com, and see you there.